when did the idea of white skin being superior actually start or originate? Was it from the Anglo-Saxon British Empire? Do we see traces of this earlier in Roman Empire or even before that? Thank you, sir. This notion of white skin being superior, it dates back only about 200-300 years. So the Europeans became dominant in the past 500 years. And eventually, after a couple of centuries, 2-3 centuries, they started believing that their skin tone is racially superior. And anybody who has the skin tone associated with Europeans is naturally superior to other people because they became so dominant because of a variety of reasons. During the Roman times or Greek times, was white skin supposedly superior? The Greeks fought the Persians for centuries. Did the Greeks believe that the Persians were inferior to them because the Persians had darker skin than the Greeks? No. Did Alexander believe that the Indians were inferior to him because Indians had darker skin? No, no such thing. Absolutely nothing. Right? Roman Empire. The Romans, the original Romans, not today's Italians, the original Romans had dark hair and dark eyes. And they had darker skin compared to the Nordic people and the Celtic peoples. Okay? Then you have the conquest of Gaul and the conquest of various other parts of Europe. When this happens, the Romans start bringing in large numbers of slaves from these parts of Europe which they had subjugated. So when you bring in slaves, women slaves, let's say, from the Celtic parts of Europe, etc., most of those women and people will have blonde hair. And those were enslaved. And when the Romans enslaved women, they did all kinds of terrible things to them because slaves are just property, right? So the Romans, they passed a law. What was the law? All prostitutes in Rome had to either wear a blonde wig or to dye their hair blonde because Roman women could not be prostitutes. Or if they had to be prostitutes, they had to dye their hair blonde or wear a blonde wig. Because blonde hair was a mark of the non-Romans, the white people. The Romans they had darker skin tones than the Northern Europeans, the Celts. So did the Romans believe that the Northern Europeans who had whiter skin than them and blonde hair, blue eyes, did the Romans think that was superior to them? No. They believed Romans were superior to the white people, to the whiter people. You see? And you can fact check whatever I've just said. Check it out. Google it or whatever it. So the idea of white skin being superior originated pretty recently, maybe 200-300 years, the past 200-300 years. The Irish were discriminated against for a very long time in North America. The Irish have whiter skin than the British, right? But they were discriminated against. They were considered non-white or racially inferior for a long time. And to get rid of that, the Irish had to be super racist against the blacks. And that's how they were accepted as whites. Long story, pretty dark stories here. So the entire thing of white skin being superior, it emerges in the past 200 or 300 years, roughly.